3 life sentences to be served concurrently with no chance of release for 33 years. Triple murderer Erin Patterson was told by Justice Christopher Beale today that hers was a crime in the worst category and an enormous betrayal of trust. Patterson was quiet and blank-faced when sentenced for the killings of Don and Gail Patterson, Heather Wilkinson, and the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson. The sole survivor of her deadly mushroom lunch has thanked investigators and asked for his family to be allowed to grieve and heal. Sasha Payne was in court.
Remorseless and pitiless, Erin Patterson arrives in court to hear her punishment.
Your offending involved an enormous betrayal of trust.
In a judgment broadcast live around the world, Justice Christopher Beale handed down 3 life sentences for the murders of Don and Gail Patterson and Heather Wilkinson, and 25 years for the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson.
The total effective sentence is life imprisonment, and I fix a non-parole period of 33 years.
Justice Beale detailed a long list of egregious untruths told by Patterson, maintaining lies about owning a dehydrator and insisting the mushrooms for her deadly meal was store-bought.
You showed no pity for your victims. Instead of informing those treating the Pattersons and Wilkinsons that you had used foraged mushrooms, which you could have done without having to admit that you had deliberately poisoned their meals, you repeatedly denied foraging, insisting that the mushrooms for the beef Wellingtons were sourced solely from Woolworths and an Asian grocery.
Justice Beale found that she maintained her intention to kill, even as her victims lay dying.
As the Wilkinsons' daughter, Ruth Dubois, remarked in her victim impact statement, you, quote, followed through on your lethal plan.
It was a plan which had widespread ramifications.
Not only did you cut short 3 lives and cause lasting damage to Ian Wilkinson's health, thereby devastating the extended Patterson and Wilkinson families, you inflicted untold suffering on your own children, whom you robbed of their beloved grandparents.
Erin Patterson was attentive as Justice Beale read out his sentencing remarks, closing her eyes for some of it, but betraying little emotion, even as she heard she'd most likely be spending the rest of her life in prison. Justice Beale gave her a non-parole period of 33 years due to Patterson's onerous conditions in prison, spending up to 22 hours a day alone in her cell. Outside the court, Pastor Wilkinson, a constant and stoic presence throughout the 3-month trial, thanked prosecutors and detectives for their compassion and kindness.
They made a professional, efficient and effective investigation into what happened at the lunch. They brought to light the truth of what happened with the death of 3 good people. We're grateful for their skills that brought this truth to light.
After receiving her sentence, Patterson's prison van took the half-hour drive to the Dame Phyllis Frost Centre. She won't be leaving until she's at least 82. Sasha Payne, ABC News, Melbourne.
And Sasha Payne joins us now. So Sasha, is that the final chapter now in this long-running saga?
Well, Erin Patterson will spend at least 3 decades in custody. She won't be eligible for parole until at least 2056. Now, the next thing that could happen is her lawyers could launch an appeal. They haven't yet indicated whether they'll be doing that, but she has 28 days from today to launch an appeal against her conviction, her sentence, or both. And to do that, she will need to prove, or her lawyers will need to prove, that there was a point of law that wasn't followed in the trial. Now, considering how meticulous Justice Beale was in running this trial, there may be few options in that regard. Also from today, you're likely to see a tsunami of mini-series, books, documentaries and other media material about this case. The interest in this has been enormous, and Justice Beale even referenced it in his sentencing remarks today, saying one of the reasons he decided to give her a non-parole period was because her notoriety had made it difficult for her in prison. Now, Simon Patterson, Erin Patterson's ex-husband, wasn't in the court today. We haven't seen him for some time, but he is expected to break his silence. The ABC understands that he'll be launching his own podcast, potentially before the end of the year. So this story is one that's not going away anytime soon. But the small towns in South Gippsland that are at the centre of this case just want to get on with their lives and are hoping things will go back to normal soon.
All right, we begin with some breaking news just coming in from Australia.
An Australian judge has sentenced mushroom murderer Erin Patterson to life in prison.
And she'll have to serve at least 33 years in jail.
It's a case that continues to make headlines around the world.
Effroi et fascination dans le monde entier. Erin Patterson.
But in the small towns of Leongatha and Karambara, they have had enough of the global spotlight.
We just hope that the community can now start grooving and they can now put some closure towards what's been going on.
At the end of the day, we're dealing with humans. We're not dealing with characters in a movie.
At the church where Ian Wilkinson is pastor and the 3 victims were regulars, a message on the notice board acknowledged the sentence, saying justice is important. It does not, however, bring back our much-loved Heather, Dawn and Gail. It is time for people and communities to be given the peace and space to heal and move forward. In Morwell, where the Supreme Court case dominated headlines for more than 10 weeks, locals weren't surprised.
Just had the computer on out the back watching it to see what the sentence was. We're not surprised, obviously, we thought that would happen.
She took 3 lives, and to me, I think that probably deserves life.
It has made ripples in legal circles following one of the most severe sentences ever handed down in Victoria.
It is, fortunately, a very rare event that somebody is sentenced for multiple murders at the same time.
And as with any major event, there was appreciation for the craft of those involved.
We had extremely skilled and competent barristers appearing for both the prosecution and defence, and we had a very experienced criminal judge in Justice Beale.
A key chapter in Erin Patterson's story closes for now. Tavleen Singh, ABC News.